So I have two different hats that I wear. One is that I coordinate a group of funders called the Funders Workgroup for Sustainable Production and Consumption, which TIDES, via Kathy Lerza, is a member of. This is a group of funders who are interested in studying and getting involved in making change about the environmental, health, and social impacts of how we make, use, and throw away all this stuff in our lives. Because of that role, I've been thinking a lot about how to translate all the information like that we just heard into advice or guidance for funders. What can funders do to not just be overwhelmed by the severity of the situation, but to be more effective change agents? So I'd like to share some of that with you today. I have another hat also, which is that I made a little film with the great help of the Tides Foundation called The Story of Stuff. I'm wondering have many people seen it here? If you haven't seen it, it's about stuff and how we make and use and throw away stuff. And you can see it at storyofstuff.com. I also have some DVDs with me here today, so if you want one, please come talk to me afterwards. I just want to really give a sincere hats off to Tides for first coming up with the idea to make the film. It's based on a live talk that I do, and I will never forget when Idali said, "You should make a film of that." And I said, who would want to watch a film about the materials economy? Well, it turns out a lot of people. In the 7 months since we launched this film online, we have had over 3.5 million views. We are still getting 10,000 new views a day. You can go onto Google Analytics and see a map of the world and actually see a dot where everyone has seen it. And I was scrolling my mouse. I cannot find a country in which it has not been seen. Like Congo, Chad, Burma, everywhere. It is just totally amazing. In addition to the number of views, we've been floored by the number of emails that we have gotten. Over 30,000 people have signed up online or emailed us to share with us really heartfelt stories about how the film has affected them. And I found these email responses really illuminating to sort of the mindset of where people are on these issues. They're very diverse. There's a huge number of people that have emailed us who said they've never thought about any of this and they wouldn't have even watched the film if they knew what it was about. But that it caused some light bulb to go off to get them to start to rethink about the impacts of the materials in their life and their own relationship to materials. We've also gotten lots of emails from people who say they worked on some piece of the issue for decades, indigenous rights or forest protection or worker health issues or recycling, some piece of it, but they didn't realize the connections. They didn't realize the systemic nature of the problems. We're getting lots of teachers emailing us, and so we're actually working on developing a curriculum for teachers to use it in their schools. It's already being used in hundreds and hundreds of schools around the country and world. Lots of faith-based groups, Unitarians, Catholic churches. We can't believe how many checks we've got from nuns who want copies of it that are using it. Also, we've gotten about 700 requests for translations. We've gotten a huge number of emails from kids. I have a whole following of 12 to 14-year-olds now. Just as an example, there's a school in Palestine using it, a street theater in South Africa, Austria's official development aid agency, the Pan American Health Organization in Argentina. It is every day we get these phenomenal responses. So clearly we struck a nerve, which got me to thinking hard. I've had the tremendous opportunity to be able to talk to and a lot of these people who are contacting us and reading all these emails, and it's got me thinking hard about what are some lessons learned that I learned in making and disseminating this film and communicating with all these people. What are some lessons about the state and needs of the movement today? So I'm developing a set of sort of observations about the movement for sustainable production and consumption, and I'm working on a white paper with some observations and specifically implications for funders. I don't have time to go into them all now, so if you're interested in continuing this conversation, please talk to Kathy Lerza or myself afterwards. But I want to share with you 3 core observations that I've realized about the state of the work today and the implications for funders. So one of the first things that I've realized is that the time for seriously addressing these issues is now. The time is now in 2 ways. One is in terms of the environmental reality. When I was going back and updating the footnotes on the story of stuff, and so I went to look up all these statistics about forestries and fisheries and climate and water, it was a very sobering experience. On every single issue, the statistics were worse. The reports say consensus of scientists, warn of critical crisis, impending disaster, collapse. Like, we're seriously at an ecological brink across the spectrum of issues. But the other reason I think that the time is now is I feel that people are ready. People are really, really ready to have the harder conversations. I feel like with the story of stuff, we inadvertently took the temperature of the public and found that people are ready for change. So why are people ready for change now? Part of it is the higher visibility that environmental issues are getting in the mainstream press. But I think there's something deeper that the story of stuff tapped into. I think that there's a growing dis-ease among the public that something is not working right. From the price of gasoline, to toxic umbilical cords, to not feeling safe letting your kids play outside in front of the house, to the emptiness that follows a day spent trolling the mall. There's something deeply wrong on many levels. The way I see it is we're trashing the planet, we're trashing each other, and we're not even having fun. Now, if it were fun, we might want to think of some way to prop up this unsustainable system a little longer, but it's not even fun, so why bother? And that growing sense of dis-ease, I feel like gives us a better opening to connect with people who might not immediately care about Appalachia or Canadian tar sands, but they know in their own lives it's simply not working. Yet sadly, the best thing that many NGOs and publications offer the public are these silly little 10 simple things you can do to save the planet list. And lists of 10 simple things just won't cut it. Changing light bulbs and recycling and buying organic is all good, and of course we should do that. But it isn't commensurate with the scale of the problem. And you know that, and then the public knows it. My sense is that people are ready for more now. So the funding implication of this is that it is not the time to be timid, to hold ourselves back. I'd suggest that now more than ever is the time to aim for bigger changes, to be bold, to take risks. Because really the most dangerous path of all is to keep doing what we're doing and keep getting what we're getting. Yes, progress is happening. Great work, like we heard about at this conference, is happening, but the bigger picture is bleak. As Donello Meadows once said in reference to the environmental progress that we're making is great, we're losing at a slower rate these days. We need to up the bar, we need to give more, we need to give courageously, and we need to give more creatively.